Today, I'm talking about something that we all experience and wish that we didn't have to. Something that is capable of taking joy out of our lives if left unchecked. Something that can literally make us sick. What could that be, you wonder? I'm talking about stress today. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel, Self-Care Matters with VB, a channel dedicated to the promotion of self-care. Stress is a normal and universal experience. Job loss, death of a loved one, illness, relationship conflict, and financial hardship are some of the most stressful situations in our lives. And unfortunately, a significant number of people are having to go through them right now because of this pandemic. Keeping that in mind, I think this is a good time for us to revisit our understanding of stress and its implications on our minds, bodies, and souls, and maybe review some of the coping strategies that we can use to deal with it better. Stress is a much talked about yet much misunderstood topic. Hopefully, the information that I present today will help you better identify how you respond to stress, what happens to you when you are under stress, and what you can do to minimize its negative impact. As this is a vast topic, I will be making several shorter videos. All right, let's begin. Let's start with defining what stress is. Stress basically is any change that causes physical, emotional, or psychological strain. It is our body's response to anything that requires our attention or action because we perceive it as threatening. Events in themselves are not stressful. It is the way we interpret and react to them that makes them stressful. In any stressful situation, we assess the potential threat it causes us, the resources and skills that we have to deal with it, and of course, the demands it places on us. Only situations where the demands of the situation outweigh the skills and the resources that we have cause us stress. Why do we find some situations stressful and not others? Our stress response is unique to us. It is unique to us as what we find stressful may not be as stressful to the person sitting next to us, right? Our stress response is also affected by our personality and our past experience. What comes to mind is, as an example, I can share with you, as a young child, I came across a baby snake as I was growing up. And of course, at the time, I didn't realize the dangers. Sorry. But as I was growing up, after I realized what it was and I was told and that sort of thing, any piece of string on the floor would sort of send me into hypervigilance. And later on, I realized I was obviously, getting that alarm, even though it was a false alarm. It was sort of, coming from my past experience. So you may be able to sort of think about such situations and that sort of thing. So going back to what are some of the situations we find stressful and why? So there are actually 4 factors that make any given situation stressful. If any situation has even one of these factors or ingredients, we would perceive it as threatening. So remember the acronym NUTS, NUTS. So any situation that has N, which stands for novelty or something new, U, which stands for unpredictable, T, which stands for something that is seen as threatening to our ego, and S, that stands for something that lowers our sense of control. So any situation that has at least one of these factors may be perceived as being stressful. Now, you can apply this nuts to a life situation of yours, or let's try, apply it to COVID. COVID is something new and unfamiliar. So it creates fear, right? It is unpredictable as we don't quite know what to expect in terms of risk. It is threatening to our health, maybe our job situation, our finances, our life plans, our dreams, our normal way of doing things, creating losses, etc., right? A lot of threats. And we feel that we have no control over the situation. If you recall, what I said about why you find situations stressful is when you have even one of these ingredients. But in COVID's case, we have all the 4 ingredients present here, right? So as you can see, we have been experiencing long-term stress from this pandemic situation. So what happens to us when we experience stress? When you feel you are in danger, your sympathetic nervous system kicks in. Hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol flood our body. Your heart rate goes up, you begin to breathe rapidly, your body may become tense, you may feel nauseous, you may get an upset tummy. All of this so that you are physically prepared to deal with the threat. Our stress response is also called fight or flight response, referring to the choices that our ancient ancestors had in choosing to stay to fight the tiger or to run away to safety. We now know that there is a freeze response as well, which I will discuss in another video. So stress impacts our physiology, our thoughts, our feelings, and our behavior. So some of the symptoms that can give you clue as to when you are experiencing threats, feeling stressed, include rapid breathing, cold hands and feet, feeling dizzy or nauseous, increased sweating, and tense muscles. So short-term stress actually is not bad for us, as it gives us that extra rush of energy and may help us feel more motivated to tackle a task. Our stress response basically mobilizes all the energy, and release of adrenaline and cortisol, of course, made sense when our ancestors had to deal with physical threats, right? But as you can imagine, in today's world, most of our threats are psychological. So we do not really get to use the extra energy that is mobilized, right? As a result, you may find yourself getting sort of agitated, angry, or irritable when you are stressed out. Another not so positive feature of this stress response is that energy is diverted away from non-survival related body functions, such as digestion, learning, memory, reproduction, etc. People who suffer from chronic stress may experience issues with their digestion, their memory, their learning, and also, about issues with conception of a baby. Once we get into a stress response, it takes us anywhere between 20 to 60 minutes to get back to the pre-arousal state. As stress impacts our mind, body, thoughts, and behavior, we can target intervention at all of these levels. Today's practical strategy has to do with working with your thoughts and behavior. It has to do with deconstructing your stressful situation in order to find a solution. Remember nuts? We find situations that have one of these ingredients, situations that are either new, unpredictable, pose a threat to our ego, which makes us feel unsafe and insecure, or lower our sense of control. Now, the trick to stress management using these ingredients is to use your thinking to take apart the stressful situation. Now, think about a situation in your life that you find stressful and apply this NUTS acronym to it. Right? Is it new? If yes, try to get as much information about it as you can, because this will lessen your fear of the unknown and unfamiliar. Is it unpredictable? If it is, then the best way you can deal with unpredictability is by ensuring that your own behavior is predictable. You may know some people who, when stressed, end up making things even worse because of their, unregulated behavior or sort of explosion or anger, whatever you want to call it, right? So make sure to deep breathe before you respond. This step is extremely important. The reason for that is that when you deep breathe, you activate your vagus nerve, right? And that activation of your vagus nerve disengages your stress response and re-engages your rest and digest response, which also helps you to think clearly. T, is it threatening to your ego, your sense of safety, security, pride, etc.? Remember, not all threatening situations are threatening, right? Some are perceived as threatening due to our thoughts and beliefs about a situation or a person, right? So having some flexibility about your interpretation or a perceived threat helps as well. As does this situation take away your sense of control? We all want control because it makes us feel safe, right? And when we don't feel a sense of control, we feel threatened. However, there are many situations in life where we do not really have much control, right? In those cases, the best approach is to work with what you have and then learn to have control over your own reactions to situations. I don't even like calling it control. I look at it more as influence. The more control you have over your responses, the better you'll be able to influence a situation, right? So let's say you have to make a presentation, and that is not something that you enjoy or feel comfortable with. So if you keep cursing your boss, that's not going to be very helpful, right? So take this sort of, threat, potential threat apart. Acknowledge that you are feeling threatened, and then remind yourself of all the skills that you have, as our self-confidence tends to go down the drain when we are stressed. Now look at some of the skills that you need to pick up, or some of the things that you need to do to meet this challenge. Now remember to use deep breathing every step of the way, because it will help you regulate your breathing consciously, and also it will keep you engaged with your rest and digest response, which also helps with your thinking. Now, just to sum up, stress is our response to an event that is perceived as threatening, and where we assess that the demands of the situation outweigh the skills and resources that we have. Our stress response is the alarm system that kicks in and brings about changes in our mind, body, thinking, and behavior. Rapid breathing, cold hands and feet, feeling dizzy or nauseous, increased sweating, and tense muscles are some of the clues that you may get when you are under stress. By using deep breathing, reassessing and minimizing the threat, increasing and accessing your skills and resources, these are some of the ways you can manage your stress better. I hope this has been helpful. Before I let you go, please write in the comments section what you found helpful here and how I can make it more useful for you. I encourage you to interact with me and others through the comment box so we can begin to create the compassionate, supportive, kind community of self-care practitioners and promoters. I thank you for your time. I hope to see you soon again. Until then, please take good care of yourself and of one another. Bye for now.